And
okay. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I first want to thank your pastor for allowing me and asking me to come to speak to you all. And I could go back even further than that, and I can thank Mr. Simpson for introducing me to your pastor to allow me to come. And things have just gone tremendously well. I have moved to your great town of Williamston. Yes, and I'm very pleased. I talked to my little my table mates there and told them how I have just been showered with flowers from my neighbors. And I have been given a big chocolate chip cookie that said, "Welcome to the neighborhood." So, and every morning I get up with a rooster crowing in my backyard. I asked her to correct me because I was like, "What crows? A hen or a chick?" A rooster. I love a rooster. A rooster crows in my backyard. But I am not foreign to the country life. I grew up in Lawrence. You know, Lawrence before Lawrence. Big town Lawrence. That is my hometown. I grew up there, graduated from the high school. And so I thought what I would do, first of all, is tell you a little bit about who I am, and then you can see how my journey, my walk of faith has led me here. As I said, my hometown is Lawrence. My parents still live there. And they are currently 79 and 74. And they've been married 57 years. And they are truly a blessing. Truly a blessing. My dad he has an uncle, because I was telling your pastor earlier this week that last week we had an emergency. My dad is the fourth son of 7, and they all have passed away except 2. And last week my uncle got very sick with an aneurysm in his leg and had to be airlifted from Lawrence Hospital to Greenville Hospital in 15 minutes. And he's still in intensive care right now. So we have been staying in the hospitals and really being there for him because he's besides my dad, he's the only living Neely. My maiden name is Neely. But just to tell you a little bit about that, I'm from Lawrence. Majority of my life I've lived in South Carolina. Some of you all may know of Winthrop University.
Oh, yes.
Winthrop. I did my undergraduate there, and I also taught there when I came back with my doctorate. So I was at Winthrop many years ago. We won't talk about the many years, many years ago. And my master's and my doctorate was from USC. And I'm sure we had, well, I'm sorry, I'm in Clemson territory, right? Yeah, I got it out there. I see the Clemson paw on the barn. So I forget that, but USC. So that's who I am. And within that, I've worked mostly in child welfare. With child welfare, working with DSS, abuse and neglect children. I started out many years ago working at the DSS office in Lawrence. And from there began to want to do more and more for children. I've worked with therapeutic foster care. I was a divisional director, starting at the therapeutic foster agency with individual families. And then from there, decided to want to do more and more. So my background is actually in social work. But my desire many years ago has always been to combine spirituality and social work together. If you know anything about social work, a lot of the social work practices and codes of ethics based on Christian principles. Treating individual with justice and starting with the course of Jesus. And so from there, I've always been a child where I have always wanted to do that. Well, as time progressed on, my doctorate degree was actually in looking at spirituality and social work and understanding not only can a child just regurgitate Bible verses, but can they really apply them? And so that is basically what my doctorate degree was on, with children. And then fast forward many years past that, here I am in Williamston, South Carolina, working for Williamston's Youth Academy, where spirituality and the holistic approach is very important. Now, I don't say that to say that's the most thing, because it's part of it. When you think of the holistic approach, it's looking at psychological, social, biological, and spiritual. It makes up the whole person. Many times we don't talk about the spiritual. We can go to church and we talk about that. But children, everyone, there's 4 major components to make us up as whole. So when I began to look for various jobs throughout my career, and my career entails working, teaching for many years in social work, undergraduate and master's level social work at USC. I returned to Memphis and taught there as a professor for many years, and also at South Carolina State University. But I began to want to return as my parents began to get older. And one thing that is so important to me is family. Family is very important. And I never wanted my parents to be cared for by someone else. If I really wanted to care for them, if I ever possibly could, I wanted to care for them. So I began to look for a physician closer to home, and the Lord brought it together. They're only about 45 minutes away, and they are overjoyed to have their youngest daughter closer to home. So they don't call me Dr. Goodwin. Even if I ask them to, they just call me Anna. Anna. And that's good. Our daddy calls me Sugar Bugger. Sugar Bugger. So my middle name is Ananias. You know Ananias from the Bible? My middle name is Ananias, so they call me Anna. But as I began to come home, and to realize that the Williamston Youth Academy was beginning to have a holistic approach into spirituality, I began to think about, okay, now what is this all about? Williamston, the Academy, this is the population of youth that you and I may not see on a regular basis. They deal with children, males. This is going to be a facility just for males, between the ages of 10 and 16. These children are not ones that can be in traditional foster care for whatever reason. But I say to you that South Carolina has a lot of children in foster care that we don't even know about. Hundreds of children in foster care. And in my dealings with DSS and working with therapeutic foster care, I realized that kids get that way not on their own. Many times you may have children, you know, whatever their parents have done is not their fault. And when I teach Sunday school, or I teach or whether I'm speaking in my hometown of Lawrence, or if I'm speaking in Africa as an international speaker, I always let people know that, you know, the children they didn't ask to be here, right? And that's therefore they didn't ask for the treatment that they received. I was blessed to have mom and dad at home. And even when you have mom and dad at home, doesn't mean you're going to have a wonderful life. But because because people are going through so many things. But I was blessed to have my parents over there, and 57 years old, still married for 53 years, that lived in the same house. So that had stability. I was talking to my neighbor over my friends over there about farming. We had the farm life. My life was shaking trees and peach trees and all that stuff, and trying to tear up the beanstalk so they wouldn't grow anymore, so I had to pick them more beans. But yeah. So, you know, that was my life, but some children have not weren't blessed to have that. And so you may have kids who are victims of abuse, or physical abuse, or trauma, assault in that way, that are in the DSS system, or may have done things that you and I may say, how could a child do that? But sometimes you're placed in situations that make you make the wrong choices. So therefore, this is the 5th academy that Meridian Behavioral Health, look it up, Meridian Behavioral Health is actually established. It is established by Wes Malone, who was in town today, and his father was he and his father began to develop it. I think it started like in 2003, something like that. But this is the 5th one, and it goes through all of DSS standards. It is a secure facility that not only does it treats the child, because when you're an actual victim of abuse, it does something here. You understand what I'm saying to you? It does something here. And so my job as a clinical director is to help treat that child, to help them realize that what happened to them was not their fault, to address the trauma and get that child to understand that they have a life to live. I am the clinical director. We have an executive director, Terry Price-Decker, who's come aboard this week. I started in about 3 weeks ago. Then there's also the education director. And you may say, well, why do they need all these directors? Well, it goes back to say that we're treating the biological, psychological, social, and spiritual. When you have a child that has been abused and neglected, and there's things that are going on with that child, they may not do the best in school. So if you definitely know, you have IEPs, individual education plans. There you go, individual education plans. Well, you have to, according to the ADA, America's Disability Act, you have to address the child's disability. And so when you address the child's disability, it may be that our children may be able to be in a standard classroom and learn everything. But because our children may have gone through so much trauma, they may need somebody to actually read it to them. Okay, so a lot of the kids that we may get have fallen through the cracks of the system. So the educational director, okay, the educational director, he's the one where like for instance, Monday and last Thursday, he and I went to your middle school and your high school, and we carried them Chick-fil-A biscuits and juice, things like that. We're trying to get a relationship with them because we realize we're going to need to work with them. And our children are going to need to be in their schools. And we need to have a relationship. We can't do it alone. We need their cooperation. We need to make sure the IEPs are done. If those children come and they have IEPs and any special accommodations, then we need that teacher and that people with the special education to work with us. If they are homebound, then they will be schooled right there in our facility. So the facility actually will have classrooms in there with laptops in there, and Avery Multifiler, who's the education director, he is certified to do all those things. We'll have computers in there for them to do virtual school, so they can keep up with their education. Because keep in mind that if we don't have a population of people who are uneducated, what goes up? Crime rate goes up. A lot of things happen when people are not educated. People are going to get their needs met, right? We want our needs met. People are going to get their needs met. So the whole idea is to bring about good citizens, good gentlemen, to teach them those things. So he's there for educational. I'm there for clinical. In addition, we're going to set up systems where they have to work to do various things, like, for instance, work to come to the spring festival. We're going to be at the spring festival. Our children won't be there. We won't get them until later September. But get them to go to the movies, get them to go to the circus, whatever comes on, they would have earned those rights to do that. And the other part is the spiritual. Well, I've talked to your pastor, and I'm hopefully we'll talk to other pastors in the area as well, that we will need people to come in to volunteer. And we will train you on what to do, how to do it, and what not to do. Like, don't bring cell phones and don't bring phones and things like that. Because not only do we want to make sure that they're safe, but that you're safe. Is that making sense here? Okay, because we want to make sure that the relationship is one where it's established, it's organized, and it is complete. Let me pause for a minute. Am I going too fast? Okay, so that's what we're all about. To do volunteer work, if you would like to, we will have volunteer programs set up or training to do that. Bible study within the facility as the children are able to, maybe to come to your church and just to become more in the community. We had talked just briefly, nothing's been confirmed, but maybe they could do volunteer work at your food bank, do volunteer work at, whatever is going on, that they can actually volunteer and really get a sense of being a part of the community. You pause for a minute. Any questions so far what I've said? Anything? There's nothing outlandish. Anything at all? Start off, we hope to get our first youth in late September, and we're only going to start off with 10. And as time progresses on, maybe by the latter part of the year or the beginning of next year, we could get up to maybe 40 or 50. The total capacity is 52. 52.
Where are they coming from? What areas? Are they all South Carolina?
South Carolina. They must all be from South Carolina. Now, the need for a facility in this area is because many of the children who are in the seacoast. Now, as I said, there's another facility that Meridian owns in South Carolina. It's called Seacoast Academy, Myrtle Beach. And I've been there. But many youth from upstate are down there. And so there's a need for a facility like this. And DSS is really saying, we're really not going to open it because there's a need. And because of the quality of care we're getting, and we're saying all the time.
Now, one thing that I've taught the executive director and I've talked about is that we're not so concerned about growing so big as we are about quality of care and making sure that we take care of the children, that we're taking good care of. Because if I'm putting my name to it, we got to do it right. You understand what I'm saying? We got to do it right. You know, I think a name goes far. And she feels the same way. So it's starting out small. It's getting the staff trained. As we've talked about, so we're going to be doing really true training here. And thank you for allowing us to come and be a part and using the office upstairs to do training and to make sure everyone is really ready to start. We'll do our training starting next Wednesday of all those who've been hired thus far. We're starting out small, and then we're able to build from there, but not too fast.
There would be house parents who live there.
Not house parents, but actually employees. They're called direct care workers, and we have first, second, third shifts, and that's what we've been doing, interviewing upstairs for that. And they will actually, it's a small ratio. Like for instance, if we have 10 children, it is like 5 kids to 1 worker, and they must keep their eye on at all times. They must document every 15 minutes what they're doing. If they're doing hygiene, if they're taking a bath, if they're watching TV. So that's how accountable we are in what our children are doing. Never will it be 1 adult to 10 kids. It has to be. If that happens, we're out of compliance. So it's like 1 to 5 as they go to sleep, and 1 to 6.
So they're going to live there until you can find foster homes for them. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. They could live there 6 weeks to a year. And whatever the contract goes, what it says with DSS, that's all I'm letting say. Yes.
So the children that you're getting, they're going to be referred to be placed there by DSS?
DSS and Department of Juvenile Justice.
So this is all by DSS then?
Department of Juvenile Justice. And we're asking for children. And I can understand the community. They say, well, what kind of kids are you getting? And then you want to know who's in your community. We do not ask for children who have been sexual predators. We don't ask for that. We won't accept that. That's a nullity total program. I used to work at the Department of Juvenile Justice, and I didn't work with sexual predators. That was not my area, and that is not the children that we're going to control. Okay. That's a totally different program, and many of those kids go to the facility.
Who's going to be doing the cooking?
They tell me I am, but I don't know. And they get a ham sandwich and what they for me. But no, that's food too, isn't it? But there the educational director, Avery Moulton Fowler, has experience in working in the kitchen. He's gone through, it's called SurfSafe.
Yeah, SurfSafe.
He's gone through that. And he's going to train, but we're all looking for someone to do some part-time cooking. We are. Yeah, but it won't be Dr. Goodwin. It will not be Dr. Goodwin. I mean, I don't mind sweeping the floor right now. We are wearing many hats. Avery just left me something saying, can you get these copies made for tomorrow? I'm like, I don't have that large of a printer at home. So, but we may wear so many hats that we're prepared at this point to make it success so well. If I have to sweep the floor, I'll sweep the floor. You know, if I have to help a child make a bed, I'll do that. And so we all are wearing hats to make this a successful program. And we have transparency in the sense, what I mean by that is that, you know, there's nothing to be hidden. DSS, we're welcome to walk through any time. I definitely moved to the area because I really feel like when you got children in your care, you want to make sure they're taken good care of. So I believe in proper training to train the staff right. From those who will be under me in the sense of that will do therapy, as well as those who will work in direct care with the kids. And it's not 9 to 5. So if I need to drop in at 8 in the evening, I can drop in at 8 in the evening. But I believe the staff will be doing exactly what they need to do. So I feel comfortable in that. But part of this also, and Pastor Ochoa had informed me about a pastor's meeting next week that I hope to attend as well, to let the pastors know and let their congregation feel comfortable about what's going on. I met with your mayor. We met with the mayor. I get the days mixed up. The days Wednesday. We met with the mayor yesterday. All of us did, and we hope to get involved in your community. We do, and in different ways. So I hope to be there and to work together. Any other questions?
How are the rooms set up for the
DSS standards are where they have to be, they're single beds, they're not bunk beds. There could be 2 in a room. They have to be a certain footage, and there's that. So the architect and all of them have made sure everything's exactly right before we actually get DSS to walk through, and for the fire marshal to walk through. They have, there could be 2, 3, or 4 in the bed. There's 2 wings. The kids will be like DSS or DJJ. One or the other will be on different wings. And there is, like I said, there was a commons area where they could have a TV, as a flat screen TV set up. There's also, I think there's like 2 or 3 commons areas. We are going to have open house September 21st. It's a Wednesday. So I welcome you all to come, and we'll be putting it in the paper, and we'll make sure your pastor has a copy of it. But we welcome you to come. Please come to just walk through and see everything. Yeah. And I may cook a hot dog that day.
Age group from
10 to 16, about 10 to 16. It could go up to 17, but right now we're saying 10 to 16. We'll have an open house in September. So hopefully everything, it will be done, completed, and we'll have open house. So looking forward to it. There is an area in the back where there's trees grown up. Some of that will be leveled, and a basketball court back there. There will be a fence around it. And there will be, I think, possibly a soccer court or something like that with picnic tables out there as well. So it makes them feel more home friendly.
What would be an example of what you would term a success story as to when you complete, or a young man completes this program, what would his next step in life be?
When the next step in life would be, let me go back for a bit. It could be foster care. Okay, many of these children are not with their families for different reasons. So South Carolina has different levels. We're called a level 3 facility. So like the cute little babies or the 5-year-old starting 1st grade, something like that, if they're in foster care, that's level 1. And they would go through traditional foster care. If there's a child, let's say for instance, their child may have ADHD or may not be able to be maintained in traditional foster care, then they go to therapeutic foster care. And I worked in that before, and that's level 2. And it says that as that child grows older, for whatever reasons, they're not being able to return home, and they can not stabilize in a foster home, then they come to us level 3. Then you go on up to level 5. If we were doing really well, and I believe we are, because we are very energetic about it, when we're a success, that child may go home, or that child can do so well, it could actually go down to foster care, like that. And I do believe with wrapping around services, and it's not going to just be us. We're saying, okay, now you can go. We're going to make sure that child still have those same services after they leave us. You have kids who are, think of it this way. If you can think back when you were adolescent, and you all may have had what you need, but when you have children who don't have basic necessities and they're picked on or they're bullied or something goes on, that affects the child. That affects the child mentally. And so it affects them in school. We got a lot of programs set up right now where kids can eat at school. But when you can't eat, if I'm hungry, then I'm not going to concentrate on schoolwork. I just can't. And so I can't tell you that I understand how that is, because I've never been like that. But I can imagine that's a pretty rough place to be in. So you have a lot of things that are happening to children right here in South Carolina. They tell me that kids sometimes are staying in the DSS offices or going to put them in hotels. To me, that's a travesty. I don't see any child having to do that. But for whatever reason, there are hundreds of kids in foster care. I would venture to say thousands right here in South Carolina. But our goal is not to just get them and hold on to them, but I'll put it this way: your discharge planning begins in admissions. Does that make sense? You start the day they come in. You find out what are the issues, what's the treatment, what's going on with this child, and you're working toward getting that child out of the facility, not to hold on them to get a paycheck. That's the way it starts. Discharge begins at admissions.
So what if the family is not ready for the child to come back, or the parents are
And that happens sometimes. Because many times, I mean, if you're dealing with a family that does not, then it's up to the deferred agency that when that child's ready, then that child possibly could go to foster care. But they need to make that preparation for it. We don't do that. We don't make a decision where they go afterwards. Now, if the family is involved, then we invite the family to come in and visit. But let's say, for instance, if, you know, maybe the mom is not where she needs to be, and then she's going through a program, alcohol and drug abuse. Then we don't want mom coming in like that. Okay, so if mom is wanting to work with the child and the child's stable, we would invite mom to come in. But if mom's not in the right mind, and the plan is not to return that child home, we don't have anything to do with it. Okay, because you know if that child is in DSS custody, then they're our point of contact, and they contact the parents. Good questions. Good questions.
That's sad.
Ma'am,
That's sad.
in a way it is. In a way, the way it is. It is. Sir,
It's necessary.
it's necessary. It's necessary. And you have to think about it in this way that someone's got to care for the children. I'm not saying we have to have bleeding hearts. And one of our major decisions and goals is, you know, when if you want to go through volunteer training, is that it's sad, but the thing is that you don't give them money, you don't give them anything. You're there as volunteer, and we don't want to get out. We want to help our children to be successful on their own, not looking for a handout. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. What's that old thing? You know, teach the person how to fish, not give them fish. You know, they want to teach them how to do it. And that's what we want to produce. My thought is produce children under a period of 2 sons. It is not it's not easy raising teenagers. It's not. But I got to do it, and I think sometimes I wonder who's raising who. Because I tell myself, you know, I know I'm the parent here, but I enjoy it. You enjoy it, and you have to. The adjustment has been that I'm not raising 8-year-old, I'm raising an 18-year-old, and it's not so much raising as it is trying to befriend. And well, I'll take that back. I never said I'm a friend to my children. I'm always a mother. I'm not your friend. I mean, I've told my kids that I'm not your friend. I'm your mother. I know Pastor Ochoa's like, don't say that. I'm not your friend. Yeah, I'm not your friend. And I'm the boss. Yeah, I say that. I'm the boss. And it was like, and I know some parents be that friend. I'm not your friend. I'm the parent, and I demand that respect, whether they're 8 or 18 or 28. I still need that respect, and that's how they have done it. And I believe that these children, when I have worked at the Department of Social Service, Department of Juvenile Justice, I'm about 5'3". I wear heels because you know I can give you that illusion. But I wear heels, so when I do that, I could be standing to a youth can grow up who was like 14, and he was like 6 feet tall, and never did they curse me. That's something I don't allow. You know, if I'm going to treat you with respect, you treat me with respect. And when I would teach at different universities, I would tell them the same thing. It's a respect thing. You know, I'm not going to disrespect you. You respect me, and that's the way I deal. And I'm a loving person with compassion, but I don't deal in disrespect. That's just me. And I could come across, they say, well, after some men have told me before, do you not realize you're a little intimidating? and I guess I would have my glasses on, and I was like, no, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. What do you mean to say? And sometimes my students would say, they would be master students, and they would be graduate level, and they would say, Dr. Goodwin, you know, you're fine, but when you look over those glasses, that doesn't be a little too. You know, I didn't understand what I was talking about. I said, well, I'm just looking at you, but you know, it's just the way you present yourself to them. I just feel I know, and I can actually say that if you can present yourself in a very professional way, in a very Christ-like way, and people have to respect you. That's just me. Disagree? No. Yeah.
Question. You mentioned before that the DSS and the J kids are separate. Do they have much contact, or is that sort of you try to keep them separate in all areas of life?
No, not all. The one of the policies is that for instance, you can't put a child in a facility that's 3 years. You can't in a room. You can't put a child in a room that's 3 years older than the other. It can't be 3 years apart. So you would put a 15-year-old in a bed, not bed, but a room with 11-year-old. Every child must have their own bed. So we do that because they have different concerns and different issues. Okay? You know, this may be incorrigible, this may be truancy. Whereas you may have this child here and they have been abusing it. Okay? So you have different dynamics going on. So you have to see that. But we do ask the kids to come in with a treatment plan, and then we set up a treatment plan to exactly how we're going to address it. Whether it's teaching them how that if they're abusing neglect, letting them know that they're a survivor, that they are not a victim, that it is not their fault. So you go through therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, work with them on that. Whereas when it comes to truancy, then you're talking to them more about the importance of education. You're trying to let them know more about what they need to do, how they need to change. Maybe they're angry, helping them deal with their anger. That makes sense. Deal with different issues. Would they be in group together? They could be, but it depends on if that's what that child needs. You can have a child who's abusing neglect, who's angry, and they be in the group here. Yeah. But we would try to keep them on separate homes. Good question.
Do you have staff that's going to be, I know you're clinical director, but are you going to have other staff that's going to be there doing therapy, counseling, groups, and things like that?
Yes. I, as a clinical director, there are people who are that we're hiring, hired to master's level. Eventually, we'll have 5 because, excuse me, every they're called HSPs, but this is just a case manager. They can only have a caseload of 10. So that's by the standards. So if I said 52 children, then each one of them have maybe 50, maybe one have, and I may carry one for a while just to make sure things are going well. Their office will be next to me, and I will train them what they're going to do. I would train them exactly what to do, and I'll create the entire schedule for group therapy. And everything is outlined what each child's will be doing every hour. Granted, they come with different experiences. We have social work, psychology. One young lady, she does music therapy. I can't think of her degrees in right now. But yeah, there's other people, so I will not be doing therapy. I oversee the ones that are doing therapy. And even we have people who are the direct care staff from time to time, may do little minor groups, maybe on hygiene, manners, things like that. Yeah. Or we have volunteers that may want to come in and do a little group, maybe something on etiquette, things like that. Go around it, and then that's what we're working on. Other questions?
So you did mention that some of them will be definitely in our middle schools and high schools here, and then some will still be on homebound.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And Avery Walton Fowler would be one where we have gone to the high school, middle school. That's basically where our children would be. And we definitely want them to be in the schools. I think they need that. Yeah, to be in schools. But let's say, for instance, we have someone that does come and they cannot go for whatever reason. Then we're equipped to train to teach them right there.
And I think some people may know that they're going to age out eventually from the system. So the better prepared they are to be on their own, the better off they will be.
Independent living skills, how to manage money, you know, how to set up, how to actually, what do you do with your money, you know, to save some, you know, your time, you do various things, but what do you do with your money? The things that we know, we assume others know, but they don't really know. How do you stay out of poverty? How do you say no to drugs? I don't know. I just said no, but that has a lot to do with the way I was raised. My dad had, they said, don't have what's that thing? Don't have a loaded gun in your house. My dad had a loaded shotgun all the time, and we never touched it. Never touched it. He would shoot snakes and did whatever he had to do with it, and we didn't touch that gun. But for some reason, you smile like you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, I would never touch that gun. You knew better, but there was a firmness in my home where you knew better. And touch that gun. I can remember, and I know I'm dating myself now, when marijuana came on the surface, they had a real firm talk to us. Don't touch it. I don't want it in your body. I don't want you bringing it in the house. And we didn't touch it. So what's happening now with our children? Why they're touching it? You understand what I'm saying? What's going on? Could be.
Sometimes, yes.
Exposure. Things have changed. So as things change, we have to, do we just look the other way? Or do we get involved? I guess that's the makes sense.
Now, are all these kids that DSS pulled out from their parents?
Oh, they pulled out from their parents. Meaning they don't stay with their parents? Right. They do not stay with their parents. That's exactly right.
So, they're all troubled children, or?
Well, it may
Or
not be that they're
troubled
troubled, they may be troubled because their parents were troubled. Or
Yeah.
because some type of
Yeah.
abuse, neglect, something like that going on.
So I guess what we would say is that they have issues, they have concerns. Yes, they do. You know, but we all have issues and concerns. And sometimes we say we got problems, but we have concerns, we got issues, things that need to be addressed.
You've taken on quite a challenge. You're gonna get gray hair before you know it.
I got a little bit in there, but I just told 58. Yeah, so I need much prayer. Thank you, but you're right. You're right. It's a challenge, but I don't do it blindly. And I do believe, and this is not to say I'm saying this because I'm in a church. I am a Christian. I love the Lord, and I believe that He's got it here for a reason. I really think He has, because I could not do it alone. I really couldn't. No, at all. When I see things that He has brought together, I know it's Him. I know it's Him. And I don't think I told the pastor this or not. I am a minister, licensed and ordained. Yeah, 2004, 2005. So God is working it out. But you're right. It's not an easy challenge. Not at all. I hope you come to the open house because I'm hoping to have my parents there, and I would love to introduce you to them. I'd love to do that. Mary and OT, they are a wonderful couple. Any other questions?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We've been wondering what's going on over there
Well, I'm glad
since the
you-
construction started. So.
Yeah, I know, and I hope if things progress on that, other churches will open their door for me to come. They always kid me when we're upstairs. I know your pastor hears us in there. They always kid me because I know different pastors that are here, and I would mention Mr. Simpson. I mentioned your name yesterday to the mayor. And I said, well, do you know this pastor? They said, every time we meet somebody new, you always play that game, do you know this pastor game? And I said, well, that's all I know. So I mentioned your name, Mr. Simpson, and I hope to go to New Prospect. New Prospect, and your mayor said he was going to be there Sunday. I hope to go there Sunday. So, and I hope to be in that pastor's meeting next week. Because people, if you something's coming new in your neighborhood, you need to know. You need to know more. So, but thank you for the questions and anything else you may think of. We're always right upstairs, and